Today I'm going to show you guys how to make this really cute daisy car accessory set that features car coasters, a car hanger, a car air freshener modification, and as always the pattern will be linked down below, and the pattern actually features a sunflower applique as well. So you are going to need weight 4 cotton yarn in white, yellow, and a color of your choice, a 4.5 millimeter hook, a 3.5 millimeter hook, a darning needle, and some scissors. So we're going to start by making the base of the coaster, and to do this you're going to need to make a magic ring. And if you don't know how to make one, you can just follow as I am doing here. And then we are going to be chaining 2, which does not count as a stitch. And you just want to work 12 double crochets into the ring. So you're going to want to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through the last 2 loops on your hook. So I'll show you that one more time, and then just finish off by crocheting 12 and meet me at the end. So once you are done with that last double crochet, you want to put your needle into the first double crochet you made and just complete a slip stitch. Now for the second round, we are going to be chaining 2 and doing double crochet increases into every single stitch, which is just where you put 2 double crochets into 1 stitch. And then you're going to do that all around. So just meet me at the end, and you should have 24 double crochets. If you are making a smaller car coaster, you're going to be using single crochets for the last round. And if you're making a larger coaster, you'll use double crochets. For the purpose of this video, I will be making a smaller coaster. So after you slip stitch from the previous round, you're going to chain 1 and complete 2 single crochets in that first stitch. So to complete a single crochet, you will insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. And you're just going to be repeating that all the way around your coaster. 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Once you get to the final stitch, you're going to insert your hook into the first single crochet you made and complete a slip stitch. And then at this point, you can pull your yarn through and weave in your ends. And then you're going to make a second base, and you want to leave a really long tail on that one. So I would say about 12 inches, because we're going to be using that for sewing it to the other base. So moving on to the daisy, you are going to want to switch over to your 3.5 millimeter hook for this. So grabbing your yellow yarn, you're going to want to make a magic ring just as we did before. So you can just follow along here. And then we are going to be doing 12 double crochets into the magic ring. So same as before, we are going to chain 2, and that does not count as a stitch. And then just work your 16 double crochets and meet me at the end. So for the purpose of this video, I am attaching my second color by pulling it through the last slip stitch of this round. But if you want a more seamless finish, I suggest just tying off your ends here and attaching the new color with a fresh slip stitch. So once you've done that, you are going to chain 1, and we are going to complete a half double crochet in the same stitch. So you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And then we are going to be doing a double crochet. Now you want to chain 2. Complete another double crochet, and then do one more half double crochet to finish off your first petal. Now you want to slip stitch into that very next stitch, and then your first petal is complete. You are just going to do that 8 times around. So I'll show you how I did that one more time. So you're going to be doing a half double crochet first, then a double crochet, then chain 2 and do another double crochet, a half double crochet, and then slip stitch into the next stitch. So now just do that or complete that all the way around your flower and just meet me at the end. So once you've completed your last petal, you're just going to want to do a slip stitch to the very first half double crochet you made, and then you can fasten off. But you want to make sure to leave a really long tail to sew the flower onto the base of the coaster. So about a 12-inch tail is fine, or you can just eyeball it. So now you're just going to sew your flower onto the first base that you made. And I just like to do this by going through 1 to 2 stitches on each petal. You don't need to go through every single stitch. Another way to do it is to go through the individual spaces in each of the petals, but I think this way it just looks a lot more crisp. So do that all the way around. And then once you're done, be sure to weave your ends in and out through the back side. And a little trick I learned is if you put your needle like actually through the yarn and not just under it, it will hold together a lot better. And it really just minimizes the risk of it coming undone. So now you're going to be sewing your 2 bases together. And if you're using really thick yarn, you can technically skip this step, but I like how it covers up the back of the first base. And I also think it just gives it a more durable finish, which is perfect for a car coaster. So to sew them together, you just want to line up the stitches and then weave your needle in and out through one loop only. So you're going to be doing the back loop of the stitch that is closest to you and then the front loop of the stitch that's farthest from you. I hope that was an okay explanation. But you're just going to want to do that all the way around until you get to the other side. So once you get to the end, be sure to weave your ends in, and that is it for the car coaster portion. So in order to make this into a car hanger, basically what you have to do is make 2 bases, crochet a flower onto each base, and then you're just going to slip stitch your yarn anywhere onto your coaster, chain 50 and slip stitch back to the same spot you started. And I will show how to do this later for when we make the car air freshener, but here's what it looks like as the car hanger. And then to make it a car air freshener, we are just going to be changing the second base to allow for more airflow. So to get started on this, you're just going to be doing a magic ring, chaining 2, and working 12 double crochets into your magic ring, and then slip stitch to the first double crochet of the round to finish off. Okay, so for the second round, you're going to want to start by chaining 4 and then completing a double crochet into the next stitch. And the sequence for this entire round is just going to be 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So to finish off this round, you're going to want to slip stitch into the 3rd chain that you did in the beginning. And then for the 3rd and final round, you are going to be completing or using whatever stitch you used for the last round of your coaster. So for this video, I'm going to be doing single crochets. So you're going to want to chain 1 and complete 2 single crochets into that first chain that you're in. And then in the chain space, you're going to complete 1 single crochet. So the sequence for this round is 2 single crochets into the actual stitch and then 1 single crochet into the chain space. And I will show you that a couple times because I know that can be a little confusing. So once you've completed your last stitch, you're going to be doing a slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round. And now we're going to be creating a small loop. So to do this, you're just going to want to chain 3 and slip stitch into that next stitch. And now you're going to want to fasten off, but leave about a 12-inch tail for sewing. So now we're going to sew the back of the coaster with the front, and we need a little pocket at the front. So we're going to be doing this a little bit differently than how we did the regular coaster / car hanger. So essentially you want to have about 10 stitches that you're not going to be sewing together. So I just do this by doing 5 stitches on the right side of the loop and then 5 stitches on the left side of the loop. You're going to want to leave those unsewn. So as you can see, I'm just weaving my yarn tail in and out of the first 5 stitches, and then you can start to join the bases. So to join the bases, we're going to follow the same steps that we did for the coaster. You're just going to want to put your needle through the back loop of the stitch that is closest to you, and then the front loop of the stitch farthest from you. So you're just going to want to sew until you get to the last 5 stitches on the other side of your loop. So as you can see, you just want to have a little pouch essentially, because that is where we are going to place our felt or your little wood chips, whatever you are using for the air freshener. So once you are done sewing it, you can go ahead, weave in your ends and tie them off. And now you're going to want to slip stitch that same color into basically the stitch that is directly in front of that loop we made earlier. So this part is pretty easy. We're just going to be chaining 50 and then you can slip stitch into that same spot that you joined your yarn in. So then once you are done, be sure to cut off your yarn and weave your ends in as good as you can because you want this to be very durable. So now you can see why we made that loop earlier. This is how you can kind of close everything off. So now let's move into how to actually make the air freshener portion. So essentially, you'll either need wool yarn or unfinished wood pieces. I will say from my experience, I think the wool works the best. So you're just going to want to basically crochet a little disc. So I just did a magic ring and then I completed 12 double crochets into the magic ring. Now, one thing I want to note is make sure that if you are using, or if you're doing this method, you are using 100% wool yarn. You do not want to be using any synthetic blends. So once you get to the end, we are going to slip stitch to that first double crochet, and then you can go ahead and fasten off right here. So to make the air freshener, we're going to be using essential oils. And I suggest to pause the video right here and look at this little cheat sheet that I made. If you don't have a carrier oil, that's fine, but I definitely suggest getting at least one essential oil for your base notes. So that's going to be vanilla or cedarwood, frankincense, and then one essential oil that carries top notes. So that's usually your citrus or herbal scents. And you're going to want to use a 3:2 ratio for base notes to top notes. So in this video, I am going to be using cedarwood for my base note and eucalyptus for my top notes. And I like to do about 15 drops total. So about 9 drops for the cedarwood and then 6 drops for the eucalyptus. You obviously don't have to do this exact though. Just feel free to saturate your little wool piece. And then to make sure that the wool really absorbs all of the essential oils, you want to just put it in a sealed container for 24 hours before putting it into your car. Okay, so once it's been sitting for 24 hours or overnight, feel free to put it into your car hanger and close it up. And there you have it, your own little car air freshener. One thing I would like to mention is, so the top note is the one that evaporates the quickest. So you can put more drops of that into your wool disc. I usually do it maybe once a week. And then once I've either gone nose blind or I just can't smell anything anymore, you can either wash your wool disc or just make a new one and start over. Okay, so now let's put them in my car. I think these are so cute. I love making them for all of my friends and family in different colors. You can all have matching car accessories. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and subscribe for more crochet tutorials.